Hello guys, as we have started our journey of GIT physiology, so the first section we have already discussed, and that was GIT secretions, that what are the secretions that occur throughout the GIT tract. So today we are going to start about the gastrointestinal hormones, that what are the different hormones that are secreted throughout the GIT tract. We will discuss all these in this lecture. So, the GIT hormones, we have classified them into three families. Number one is the gastrin family. Number second is the gastrin family. And out of the gastric and gastrin family, we have other hormones that are secreted throughout the GIT tract. So in gastrin family, we have two hormones. Number first is gastrin, and number second is cholisystokinin P2. Under secretin family, we have secretin hormone, we have VIP hormone, vasoactive intestinal peptide, we have GIP, gastric inhibitory peptide, and we have GLP, glucagon-like peptides. So these four hormones are secreted and they are occur inside the secretin family. Out of secretin and gastrin, we have other hormones like number first is Motilin, number second is Guanylin, number third is peptide YY, and number four is Ghrelin. So these are the hormones that are secreted throughout the GIT tract. We will discuss them step by step. So first we are going to start from the gastrin family. Now we are going to start from gastrin. So gastrin is a gastrointestinal hormone. This is a gastrointestinal hormones. All hormones are secreted from the endocrine cells, and these endocrine cells are present inside the GIT tract. So that is why these endocrine cells are called enteroendocrine cells. Before going further in gastrin, we should know about that what are the different cells that secretes different secretions. So number first is the G cells. G cells present inside the GIT tract, it secretes gastrin. We have S cell, it secretes secretin. We have I cell, this secrete cholecystokinin. We have M naught cell, it secretes motilin, and we have K cell, it secrete gastroinhibitory peptide. As we already know that gastrin is produced by the G cells. So the major circulating form of gastrin is G17. Now we will discuss that what are the factors that increase the production of gastrin. Number first is the peptides or amino acids. So the most important stimuli for the gastrin production is peptides or amino acids. Number second is GRP, gastrin releasing peptides. So usually they are released from the parasympathetic vagal nerve endings. They also release gastrin production. As we know that gastrin is produced by the G cells, and G cells are abundantly present in the antrum region. So the antral distension of food, the region where the G cells are present, that is the antral region. So the antral distension of food, at the antral region, when there is accumulation of the food and the antral region it become distended, so it also increase the production of gastrin. Number four is the calcium. Calcium also increase gastrin production. Number fifth is the epinephrine. Epinephrine also increase gastrin production. Now we will discuss about that what are those factors that decrease gastrin production. Among them, number first is excess acid. Excess acid, it always inhibit G cell to produce gastrin. Number second is somatostatin. We all know that somatostatin is a universal inhibitor. So it always inhibit G cell to produce gastrin. Number third is GIP. We all know that it is a hormone that are present through the GIT tract. So this GIP, it inhibit gastrin because it is a gastrin inhibitory peptide. Number four is secretin. Secretin also inhibit to secrete gastrin. Now we will discuss the functions of the gastrin. So to perform all its functions, it must need a receptor. So the receptors for gastrin is called cholisystokinin B receptor. Number first function is it increase gastric acid production. Number second, it also increase pepsin productions, that is regarding to the protein digestion. And gastrin have got some trophic action. So it increases mucosal growth throughout the GIT tract. The second hormone in the gastrin family is cholecystokinin pancreozynin. It is produced by eye cell. The cholecystokinin, it is not only present in the GIT, but it also present inside the brain. Now we will discuss the function of the cholecystokinin, pancreozynin too. So this part, the cholecystokinin part, this part is totally related to the contraction of the gallbladder and the other substance which is called sphincter of Oddi. Due to this contraction of the gallbladder, it releases bile from the gallbladder. This part, the pancreozynin part, it increase the pancreatic secretion. It increase the pancreatic secretion that is rich in enzyme. Cholecystokinin always increase action of secretin. It do to increase the function of secretin. It also inhibit gastric empty. The gastric emptying process, it is inhibited by the cholecystokinin. In brain, the cholecystokinin, it induce to decrease food intake. Why it decrease the food intake? Because it inhibit the gastric empty, so it induce a message that there is a food. So in brain, it acts to induce that we should decrease our food intake. In brain, the cholecystokinin, it is also related to the anxiety, and it also have analgesic properties. As we know that cholecystokinin, it belongs to a gastrin family, and a gastrin hormones have atrophic actions. So it also stimulate growth of the GIT, mucosal growth of the GIT throughout the tract. The cholecystokinin, its process is mediated by a receptor. Its action is mediated by a receptors, and that receptor is called cholecystokinin A receptor. And the major stimulation for the cholecystokinin is peptides or amino acids. Till now, we have finished gastrin family, in which we have studied two hormones, that is gastrin and cholecystokinin pancreozynin. Now the second family in GIT hormones, we have secretin family. So in secretin family, we are going to start from the first hormone, which is a secretin. So secretin has a historical role because it is the first hormones to be discovered in human. It is produced from S cell. What is the function of the secretin? So it is exclusively concerned with the pancreatic secretion, which is rich in bicarbonate ion. It causes a pancreatic secretion to secrete its secretions, which is rich in bicarbonate ions. Why it is rich in bicarbonate ions? Because The major stimuli for secretin is acidic chyme. When the food that comes from the stomach into the small intestine, it has stomach acid. So in order to neutralize that acid, the secretin produced pancreatic secretion, which is rich in bicarbonate ion, and this bicarbonate ions, it causes acid neutralization. The secretin, it also increase action of cholisystokinin, and the secretin, it also decrease gastrin productions. Because of the decrease in gastrin production, it also decrease gastric acid, because gastrin is related to the gastric acid production. So when there is occur a decrease in the gastrin production, so automatically it will decrease the gastric acid production. It also, the last function of gastrin is it also cause contraction of the pyloric sphincter. Okay, so the second hormones in secretin family is vasoactive intestinal peptides, VIP. It is considered as a relaxing agent, particularly at the level of the GIT and blood vessels. VIP, it is totally concerned with the relaxation of the smooth muscles. In GIT, the vasoactive intestinal peptide, it increases the fluid and electrolyte secretions. The other two hormones that are belonging to the secretin family are GIP and GLP. So gastrin inhibitory peptides, and number second is glucagon like peptides. So these are the two hormones known to increase the insulin production from the beta cells of the pancreas. They are involved in the increased production of the insulin from the beta cells of the pancreas. So they are given a special name called incretins. Because of the increased production of the insulin, they are given a special name which is called incretins. So recently GIP given a special name, that is the G of GIP stand for glucose dependent. It is dependent on glucose. And the I stand for insulinotropic peptide, because it increases the production of the insulin from the beta cells of the pancreas. So now we have finished two, that is gastrin family and secretin family. So now we come to our other hormones family, and that our first hormone is Motilin. Motilin, it is produced by M0 cell. It increases GIT motility, particularly MMC, migratory motor complex. We will study this when we study about the GIT motility. Motilin act through a receptor which is called motilin receptor. A clinical point here is related to motilin is any agent that stimulating motilin receptor, for example, any antimicrobial agent. We can suppose we can say that erythromycin, it is an antimicrobial agent. It stimulates our motilin receptor. That is why erythromycin enhances our GIT motility, which is seen in the side effect of the diarrhea. So erythromycin, it is an antimicrobial agent. It stimulates the motilin receptor in order it increase the GIT motility. So that is why erythromycin is used sometime in GIT disorders, particularly in diabetic patients. Why? Because in diabetic patients have reduced GIT motility. The GIT motility due to the diabetes, it reduced inside the diabetic patients. So this condition, the reduced GIT motility, it is called gastroparesis. So for the treatment of gastroparesis, we use erythromycin in order to enhance the GIT motility. The second hormone is Guanylin. It increases chloride ion secretion in GIT. One organisms, that is Escherichia coli, it has a similar structures to guanylin. So Escherichia coli, it activates guanylin receptors, which in turn lead to chloride ion secretion. This phenomena is called molecular mimicry. This was all about the guanylin hormone. Now the third hormone is peptide YY. The major stimulation for the peptide YY activation is always fats. The function of peptide YY is it inhibits GIT motility exclusively at the level of the terminal ileum, because when it reduces the GIT motility, so all the remaining substances that should be absorbed, they are going to be absorbed in the GIT tract and in the vessels. So this phenomena, the reduction of GIT motility, this is called Lyell break phenomena. So the last hormones that we are going to discuss is Ghrelin. It mainly produced from the stomach in the oxyntic gland region. What is the function of Ghrelin? So the first function of Ghrelin is it increases food intake. In fasting state, we all have in greater amount of this hormone, because it tells us to take the food. That is why Ghrelin hormone, it is also called hormone of hunger. The second function is it also involves in growth hormone release. The third function is it increases insulin secretion. The last function of Ghrelin is at the level of the stomach, it increases gastric motility, and it also increases the gastric acid secretions. So this was all about the gastric secretions and the GIT hormones. We have studied almost all the hormones that are secreted in GIT tract. So if you are new on our channel, please subscribe our channel.